Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast here. We got a special pre-draft rookie episode right here. We're going to break down the wide receivers and the income and running backs for this 2020 NFL draft class here. Your boy T here. We got a special guest. We got the college guru himself.
That's right.
Kenny Ray, live in the flesh in the building. Appreciate you coming on, brother.
Appreciate
and then, as always, we got the Messiah, a.k.a. Andre Navarro.
Hello.
He's here, too. We got Mr. Mike, a.k.a. Mr. Miyagi in the back over here. So,
Take Mike.
I'm gonna try my hardest to not say anything stupid on this podcast.
Oh man, you're good, bro.
I'm a gambling man, and I'm gonna gamble. What's the odds? Minus 1,000.
Oh, we're gonna do a few beer bets today because it's rookies. So
listen,
some beer bets will go put it on the board.
As long as Andre's on the show, you can't out-stupid him. So.
Yeah,
I'm good. Hey,
you know what?
Where's our beer bets at, T?
Kenny, you should be on this podcast
T-Rev?
more often.
T-Rev, where's our beer bets at? You don't put them up on the board.
Oh yeah, we need to start. Those are old ones. Those are from forever ago.
Wow,
But
I didn't see any up there.
Where the tally marks are.
Oh,
that's it. Yeah,
that is old.
This is all off screen, so people who are listening, they
You're
don't
good.
know what we're talking about, but for sure.
For sure, yeah. So we're gonna break down this episode. We're gonna go over some of the incoming running backs for this 2020 draft class. It's a pretty stacked draft class. A lot of good running backs, a lot of good wide receivers. If you're in a dynasty league, these are a lot of players that are going to the dynasty draft. So we're here to help you guys out and just kind of give you our take on how we feel about certain players here. So we can just jump right in it.
Here, real quick, I just want to say, because I always forget and end up adding it in later, is if you're listening to this podcast or even if you're watching it and there's like certain guys you want to hear us talk about, go ahead and check the table of contents. I always timestamp everything we talk about in the description, so you can literally just go to that timestamp, click it, and then navigate through the episode like real easily. So if you listen to it right now and you don't want to listen to the whole thing, you can do that and check out some little spots.
For sure, yeah. Go to the YouTube channel, subscribe. Do us a favor if you can. We're putting in the time and the effort. The hours. Looking at film, trying to help you guys out. So if you could just go there, it takes 30 seconds. Click on that subscribe button for us. Much appreciated for sure.
That's a dope feature. I use it on this other website.
Oh yeah. It takes forever, but honestly, when I'm making clips later on, it fucking it really helps myself out anyways later. So
yeah, that's like
fuck yeah. All right,
that's like
so tight, dude. All right, ready?
Yeah. Fuck my phone up though.
What?
Nothing.
For sure, yeah. So we just jump right into this. The first guy here, we got DeAndre Swift from Georgia. I got him listed here at 5'9", 210. He ran a 4.48 40, 35-inch vertical. We pretty much all have him at number one right here. What is it about DeAndre Swift that stands out that you guys like, right?
I'll just say he's probably the shiftiest back I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Like he just.
Oh my god.
He's so natural.
That's disgusting.
I think the big thing that's going to help him is he's played with loaded backfield before. He wasn't always the guy, but it helped him, it helped him get spots and just his shiftiness is what stands out to me. He's like, you catch the ball and you can't catch him.
Yeah, one thing I saw is like this guy he can like be running one way and he just cuts on a dime and he leaves, he breaks your ankles and he just leaves you in the ground. So his ability to just like cut, like stop and go was really impressive. Obviously nowadays you want to like see these running backs. You probably hear me say it a lot with these guys, but
it's a TCU game.
You like seeing these running backs who can run and they can also catch the ball as well. So it's a true potential 3-down running back right here. Kind of like an Alvin Kamara. I think me and you, Dre, we talked about it. Kind of reminded us as.
For sure, with his pass catching ability is Kamara-esque, and then like you said, the backs that can change direction without losing speed is kind of rare. Look at that. Now look, he's bursting.
Yeah.
So, and then like I said, just coming from Georgia, he was on that team with Chubb and the one that's on the Patriots.
Sonny Michel, even Gurley. A lot of people say Georgia's like RBU.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They got 5 running backs in the league right now?
Yeah.
So, no, I like him, for the sake of redundancy. Yeah, they have a good pedigree at running backs. Yeah, he plants that right foot and he just goes like with how he can cut. Yeah, he does it all. He can protect, he can catch. He's a mismatch. He can stay on the field at all times, so that's good for fantasy value, whether they're winning or losing your team. So he should be like a Josh Jacobs type of like get those amount of touches for the team that he goes to, I think.
What's the ideal team you think he could go to?
Go ahead, T-Rev, you go first.
Well, he's projected to go. There's only a couple running backs that are projected to go in the first round because there is a lot of good wide receivers and like defensive players, a lot of good offensive tackles and stuff like that. So he's one of like the running backs that's projected to go in the first round, actually. But I wouldn't be mad. I'm going to say the Dolphins. We do need a running back. So the Dolphins, they signed Jordan Howard. He's kind of more of like, I don't want to say a plunger. I know you like to call him a ball carrier.
Yeah, he
Andre.
sucks.
But to get a guy who can actually come out of the backfield and catch. I mean, just look at that. I mean, the guy's explosive, dude. Like I said, to have the ability to, there's a guy right in front of you and you just cut on a dime and he's eating grass and you're just going up the field. That's something you just can't teach. I feel like
he seems like he really likes that B button.
Yeah.
Fucking spin moves left and right,
and he has no tread on his tires, like we were saying. How he doesn't have that many touches in college, so he's still fresh.
Yeah, you're gonna hear me say that a lot this episode because I put a ton of value into that as these backs coming in fresh, and I think the best example of that is Josh Jacobs last year, of just really only playing 1 year of football.
Yeah,
and with him the last couple years being like really the third option, and this is his. Last year was his first year being the guy. Like, he's going to come in the league fresh and ready to go. I like that a lot.
For sure. Well, we can just transition to a guy. You're just talking about the workload that certain players get. We just transition to a guy, Jonathan Taylor, a guy who has seen a ton of carries. Last 3 years, 299, 307, and 320 carries. So, I mean, this guy's got a lot of tread on the tires. I mean, some positives here. 1,950 or more rushing yards in all 3 seasons. 5'10", 225, ran a 4.39 40. That was actually the fastest for the running backs there, 36-inch vertical. One thing I liked about him is, he's explosive. And when he gets through the line, you see right here in the highlight, he's just gone. Not too much receiving upside. What's your guys' take on him?
I mean, he's proven. I mean, he comes from an offense that likes to run the ball. They run that kind of offense where they don't really have that many receivers that come out. We'll talk about that later, but yeah, I mean, he has a lot of tread. But he puts up numbers. Receiving wise, he doesn't do too much. I know his junior year they tried to get him the ball more. I think he had like 5 receiving touchdowns or something like that, 4 or 5. But he's not as shifty by any means as like DeAndre Swift is. But he's got that breakaway speed. But like I said, I like, that's why we like Swift more, I'm sure, because of that shiftiness and how he can play all 3 downs. But I mean, dude's still talented. He crushes any kind of angles that you try to get when you're trying to bring him down, and he weighs 225 running a 4. Would you say a 4.37?
4.39.
4.39.
So he's big as fuck. So
that's pretty insane.
Which is that's impressive. I'm gonna go and like I said before, I will speak negatively on guys with a lot of carries. This is the one-off. This is a guy I think is like a 3-down back in the NFL, and I think he's a star. I truly do think he's special. Like I said, if I had one knock, it would be the amount of carries. But I think the plus side too is, like Dre said, he comes from a offense where they're pretty much in 2 tight ends every down, and they're under center running the ball, and that's a lot more of a pro style offense. A lot of these backs you'll see that come from spread is it's a lot different getting the ball from shotgun than it is running downhill.
For sure, 100%.
For vision wise, and so him being in a pro style offense like this with pulling guards and tackles, he's gonna transition seamlessly in the NFL.
Are you guys worried about the lack of like receiving work that he was given there, or do you think that once he gets transitioned to the NFL that maybe they'll just incorporate that a little bit more into his game?
I'm not worried about it because I think that's not a knock on him. I think it's the offense that he's in.
Okay.
I've seen him actually. He catches the ball. He catches screens. I don't think he's a bad pass catcher. I just don't think he was given the opportunity to catch the ball a lot.
Yeah.
You don't pass the ball to running back when you got 2 tight ends on the field, pretty much, unless it's a screen pass.
For sure, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've seen a couple of mocks where they have him going to the Chiefs, and if he goes to the Chiefs, I mean, we're talking about speed.
He's going to be
an
RB.
Offense. Yeah, that's.
You go to the
top
Chiefs,
15. Top 15.
Might as well just rack and repeat.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
I mean, Kareem Hunt balled as a rookie, and I'd like to think he's more explosive than
I just don't know how you'd be able to stop that offense if you had a guy like, you got Tyreek, Sammy Watkins is coming back, Kelsey, McCole Hardman should take a step forward second year, and then obviously you got Mahomes there. So I mean, you get a guy like that, we see right here, as long as he gets a crease and he gets some open field, he's fucking gone. So
as you see in the highlight, he's catching the ball. And he's a natural pass catcher. He just didn't get the opportunity to catch it.
Yeah.
And he'll learn. He has time too, so You can do. And plus, look at Derrick Henry. He makes a living, and I feel like he's way better of a pass catcher than Derrick Henry is right now.
For sure. Yeah, so that's one of these guys right here. Obviously, his landing spot will dictate, where he goes. We like to see him land in a spot where maybe he's not sharing the backfield in a committee. Because if he's like the main guy, he's
a day one starter. Hey, Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dynasty.
Go out on a limb and say that.
Yeah, he shouldn't go past like 4 or 5 in Dynasty drafts. Even if he goes somewhere like that, his talent is still good. He's still going to see the field.
I'm curious to see which one goes first of him and Swift because
I think the Jaguars are about to trade Leonard Fournette, and then they might take somebody.
If Jonathan Taylor goes to the Jags with no Fournette,
yeah,
he'll get another 230 carries probably right there.
Yeah, that'd be a good spot right here. We can jump to the next guy. So you got Ohio State running back J.K. Dobbins. He came in at 5'9", 210. He didn't run the 40 at the combine, but saw some tapes that said he ran a 4.44 in high school, so pretty fast. Strong physical runner right here. He was probably one of the hardest guys when I was actually looking at some of these films to actually break down, because I felt like every time he was getting the ball, it's like he was just running through a gaping hole, and I feel like anybody could just get the ball and just go for a touchdown there. But there was some positives I did see, when he was forced to kind of break some tackles. He's got a nasty stiff arm. We'll probably see in these highlights here. He's just shoving guys into the ground. This is another true 3-down potential workhorse running back right here. What's your views on him?
With him, it's like a combination of what Kenny was saying, how I don't like too much tread, but I like guys that perform as freshmen. And as a freshman, he did really well. And then he took a step back his sophomore year. I want to say when, was it Mike Weber? So he split time, and then he came back last year and he balled. So it just shows that he's been able to do it for a while, consistently. And you talk to you. I like his pass blocking. He's a 3-down back. He's big. I like his game. He's good enough at everything to where I think his game translates to the NFL. I would love to see him on the Bucs. I know I tell you all the time. That'd be boss. So that's.
The Bucs they could go for a running back. Ronald Jones we saw a little bit better, but last year, but
Ronald Jones is awful.
They're definitely in the market for a running back.
And he if you watch, he doesn't mind lowering his pad level and just kind of throwing the block out there, picking up linebackers, which they need for Brady. So
yeah, he's probably one of the hardest physical runners I saw.
He don't mind going there.
Just his ability, see right here, just throwing this guy out of the way.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say this is. I truly mean this is probably one of the deepest offensive drafts we're gonna have in a long time. Quarterback, running back, and receiver, because I can't find anything wrong with these top 3 guys that we've already hit on. I'm a huge Dobbins fan too. The pass blocking is gonna be one of the reasons why he's gonna be able to stay on the field for 3 downs, and just kind of have production. We haven't seen a draft this deep offensively in a long time.
Yeah,
receivers. We're gonna 6 quarterbacks talking about going in the first round, 5, 6 quarterbacks. This is a crazy offensive draft, but he's a guy that I just love. I worry about they say he doesn't have top end speed. They say he can get to 3rd, 4th gear quick, but then he's just kind of cruising.
Yeah. That's kind of how Leonard, kind of top of my head, Leonard Fournette was last year. I feel like he would break it, and then he would get caught
so many times.
He would 5-yard line. I feel like
it would drive me fucking crazy.
Terrible.
Yeah. So I feel like when these first top 3 guys kind of here, it's 1A, 1B, 1C in a sense. You can go either way. Obviously depending on where they land, it could change the value of where they are and whatnot. So
I agree. Yeah. Then I think we're finally to the B's after these 3.
Yeah. Next guy we can jump on is, and this is actually personally one of my favorite guys I looked at doing some film breakdown, but it's LSU running back Clyde Edwars-Helaire. Short little stocky guy, 5'7", 210, ran a 4.6 40. 39-inch vert. That was actually 3rd best at a running back, so got a little hop for a short guy. 55 receptions, which was 2nd in the nation. One thing I just liked about this guy was I feel like he's got the ability to stay on the field. I feel like we can maybe say 1D almost. They say you get into these 2nd-tier running backs after those first 3, but I really like this guy. The ability to stay on the field, passing the ball, catching the ball. Seems to be a pretty solid blocker, in pass pro as well. I wrote down right here MJD 2.0. Maybe he's not as stocky as MJD, but yeah, he's one of my favorite guys. I'm really hoping Miami gets him. I'd rather Miami draft him in the 2nd or 3rd round instead of wasting a 1st-round pick on a Swift or a Jonathan Taylor or Dobbins.
Yeah, he has that MJD frame. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say why I think he wouldn't be 1D, and I think that a lot of his success, and I don't want to take anything away from the guy, a lot of his success came from he benefited from that team being so good.
Yeah.
Right. And when you game plan against LSU this year, what are you game planning against to stop the number 1 overall draft pick and their 4 receivers that are going in the first round?
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Like, so you didn't see any loaded boxes. He's not going. He's kind of. I worry that he benefited a lot from that team being so damn good.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't go to a good team, is he going to be able to face an 8-man box and do well? The book's still out, and that's what I would worry about.
See, I like him for the same reason, but different reasons. So I like him for the reason that he didn't get that much tread and that much work because they were passing so much. But the film, when he does get it, I think he just pops. Like, he's one of those guys where if he goes to a landing spot, he can jump the top 3 guys. Like if you go to like a Chiefs or like a Dolphins or like somewhere where he can get the work.
Tampa
or even Tampa,
like in that Arians offense.
Like his routes, he's probably the best route running back I think out of all these guys, and he's like the low center of gravity. He's quicker than he is fast. I think. Obviously, I think a team is going to trade up to get him too. I think he's going to be one of those guys that a team they'll trade up and get him, so they're going to want to use him in a certain way. But I like him a lot. But he is a little small. That's his only problem. His size.
Yeah.
He can't take a lot of big hits. So that's one knock.
I don't think so, man.
I would put.
I'm telling you, from a coach's standpoint, I'm not saying anything. He could be a stud, but from what I see, I just see a guy benefiting from a freaking really good football team that literally won the national championship in a college football playoff game. They were up 50 against Ohio State or whoever they played.
Yeah,
There's just like, I mean, I even watching his highlights, like he's good. Don't get me wrong. There's 6 people in the box right now.
Yeah.
Against 6 blockers. You better get 10 yards.
But he also didn't get touched. He hasn't been touched until actually not once. He didn't even get touched yet. Look, he just went 70 yards right there.
You like the breakaway speed, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some of these running backs, I feel like you said, they can get to like that 3rd, 4th, 5th gear, maybe, but like when that home run speed, they can't get there. Just something interesting I kind of like found when I was going through some film was Joe Burrow came out and said that he's the best football player he's ever been around. And when you think about the players like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and even the guy was talking about how Joe Burrow used to play for Ohio State. You were talking about
J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins and Chase Young, even like just pure football players. You know what I'm saying? He said that Clyde Edwars-Helaire is the best pure football player he's ever been around. So that's just some high praise from the future number 1 overall pick right there.
You know what?
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Joe Burrow also said he's never had a losing season, so he needs to get ready for Bengals.
Hey,
Bengals
you never
season.
know, bro. They played the Steelers twice, dog. So
I would say that too about UT if you help me make a lot of money and go 1st overall.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
sure.
I think he's good. I just worry that as a GM, I would.
Valid points. No, valid points. Yeah, because when you got to protect the deep ball and you're not stacking the boxes, obviously that does open things up. And when you got these Jamar Chase, who's probably going to be a potential top 10 pick next year.
Yeah.
And then you got Justin Jefferson stretching the field. Obviously Clyde Edwards-Helaire for him to like work on these linebackers in space. It's just a mismatch nightmare. So we jump into the next guy. We got Florida State running back Cam Akers here. I know Dre, you're pretty high on Cam Akers.
I mean, I have about 5.
Yeah.
I mean, I like him. Same thing we talked about, T. I mean, he was a guy recruited to Florida State as a quarterback, and then his first year playing running back for a season, he broke Dalvin Cook's freshman rushing record at Florida State. So he's still raw, which is why I like him. We looked up 585 carries, not even 200 carries a year. I mean, with a battle line, that's not a crazy amount of tread, not even 200 touches, but like I said, I just like his overall game. He's a physical guy. He's still learning the game. He's a guy I would like him to go to the Chiefs, especially because Eric Bieniemy is like the big RB coach, and I think he could help him like learn a lot about since he's still pretty raw. So I maybe he won't pop early in the season, but as the season goes on, maybe like a year or 2 in Dynasty, once he kind of gets to learn like the nuances of running back and how it's played in the NFL. Him being so raw, I mean, his numbers are good. Like he can catch out of the backfield. He's fast. But he just comes from a battle line, which is the one downfall that maybe he's kind of scarred from. But other than that, I mean, talent-wise, just like any other guy, you put him at Wisconsin, he's doing what Jonathan Taylor's doing. Like he's running for at least 1,800 yards. I mean, he averaged over 5 yards a carry 2 out of 3 years, and Florida State was a bottom 5 O-line, and he still averaged 5 yards a carry. So it's hard to project. You don't know, but that's still impressive to me.
I'll fight you on saying that he will put up the numbers Jonathan Taylor does. I don't think he's Jonathan Taylor.
Well, you don't know. So no one knows.
Exactly.
But when you have a bottom 5 line and you average 5 yards a carry, that's
Exactly.
fucking impressive.
I don't know, but yeah, that's
What's
kind
your-
of
so what's your
outrageous to
thoughts
say.
then?
That's impressive.
I like him. I think he's solid. I think
He don't like him. He doesn't like
I
him.
just find myself trying to find the one thing that he's good at. He's like kind of a jack of all trades, which isn't bad, but I'm trying to be like, what stands out that is he a great pass catcher? No. Does he have great top end speed? No. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like
4.40 still good. 4.5.
4.47.
4.47.
That's fucking impressive.
Yeah. And just Dre, even Dre is like, he doesn't have a ton of tread, which if you look at the numbers, he doesn't. I watched a couple Florida State games this year where he was in like 30 carries. And that's just, that's a lot. You know?
I mean, they're not a good team. They suck, but
Yeah.
he's I wouldn't be surprised landing spot. He could be an impact player, but he could also be a bust guy because he's still so raw. I just like his upside for where he's going.
He's physical. I like that. And he's also had, I think he had a few injuries. I would check on that.
And like you said, he's a football player, which I like. So,
Yeah, I mean, I like him. Like you said, kind of just repeat what you said, but hard physical runner. He's got 3 down upside, because he can run and he can catch. Did play behind one of the worst offensive lines. I do like some of these players. You know him, you say it a lot, where they were former quarterbacks, former receivers, and whatnot like that. I do like that aspect in certain players' games because, you're not just a running back. You're like a football player. You understand the game at a different level than just being a running back or just being a wide receiver. And I just think that just that extra, what's the word I'm looking for? Just having like that extra smarts,
the intangibles.
Intangibles.
I think, that's a very underrated trait.
Yeah.
Because you just see the field if you see the field from different positions, you see football different.
Yeah.
And I learned that more at coach. Like I would see it from one position, but the more when you see football from every position and you're trying to know what everybody's doing, you see it different. And that's a very underrated trait that people don't I don't think look enough into.
For sure, yeah. Depending on landing spots, like I said, if he was to go to the Chiefs, I mean, we're talking about
Top-
this is a
top
guy's
4 pick.
he'll be a guy that everyone's drafting, in the
Or just
the
like
high rounds.
the creative coaches, like the Shanahans, the Ravens, because he was a quarterback, so you can just kind of put him wherever you want. If he goes to like the Broncos, or I mean, they probably wouldn't take him. Like any boring offensive play caller where you can't really utilize that kind of stuff probably wouldn't help. But
Yeah, I think the Broncos might be tapped out on running backs.
yeah, seriously, he's one of those he's one of those landing spot guys. But I like his talent overall. But depending on where it goes, it can kind of bring out the best of him. But that's why he's not in the top. 4 or 5 guys.
For sure. Jumping to the next guy, we got Utah running back Zack Moss. He came in at 5'10", 222. Ran a 4.65 40, so not blazing. I mean, it's fast. I mean, I feel like 4.65 is still fast,
right.
but we say like it's not fast.
blazing.
Yeah, we go out and try to catch a dude on a 4.65.
Yeah, but it's hard because you see like offensive linemen running almost as, so it's when you see a running back run it, you're like not that impressed.
Yeah. Kenny, I know you like Zack Moss a good amount, so I'll let you take the lead on this one.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that's a little bit of my West Coast bias and me watching a lot of the Pac-12 this year, being on the West Coast. I watched a lot of Utah games. He just was a guy that they leaned on to every down just to be the guy. They just continually handed him the ball, and he continually produced. Like you said, you don't look at it. He's not blazing, but he just gets the ball, and he runs hard. He's physical. Put up monster numbers over the last couple of years. And what did we say earlier? Men lie, women lie.
Numbers don't lie.
So-
I'm a big numbers guy, so.
I mean,
Tyler says that almost every episode.
Is it facts or not? It's truth, right?
yeah,
I know. I mean, you're not wrong. You know what I'm
What the
saying?
hell are they? That must be like San Jose State.
that's UCLA, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I was going through breaking down these running backs, he was probably the hardest physical runner I saw. Like his ability, like look at this, right, literally on point. He just bucked this guy at the 10-yard line, and then walks into the end zone. But not only can he run through the tackles, He obviously can catch out of the backfield as well. One thing I have right here, he's like, 4.65. It's not blazing speed, so he's not a home run guy like a Jonathan Taylor, but does have some good patience and some good vision. Nice footwork, some good lateral agility to be able to move through the holes. Again, right on cue. And then bucks this guy as he walks into the end zone. So, yeah, I do like Zach Moss. I mean, if the Dolphins took him, I'd be hyped because, he could be that guy who kind of spells Jordan Howard, in a running back by committee. He could be actually the guy.
He's a better Jordan Howard for sure.
Yeah. I like him. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't want to cut you off. No, I don't. I like him too. He's more of a grinder compared to like the like the CEHs who on a short yardage he can't go down there and get you a yard like Zach Moss will be able to. Even as a rookie, he's not scared to go between the tackles and get some yards. And like Kenny was saying, he's physical. He's been productive in the Pac-12. I mean, they have good talent out there. It's not like they're playing against bums. And he's been doing it for so long. The tread is concerning, but I mean, it's not like he's getting hurt all the time. And he's a football player. Like, dude, just loves to play football. So,
how tall is he, T?
5'10".
5'10". Okay. And his size, he weighs what, like 215, 220?
220.
So the size is good. And dude, now he's going to be in the NFL. Like, they're going to tell you what they want out of you. If they want him to cut some weight, he's going to be, the best of the best at everything. So as far as he could take a hit. The size is good. I don't know much about his pass protection, so I don't want to say anything like that. But the size, you would think he'd be able to pick up a block or two, being as big as he is and as physical as he runs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
we kind of touched on it. We said he's kind of like a Kareem Hunt.
Yeah. He's not going to break away an 80-yarder. I mean, maybe in college, but he'll still get you a bunch of 50, 40, 50-yard runs. And
no, he didn't break away.
So even in college, there you go. But even, I mean, especially in fantasy chunk plays, he can catch out of the backfield. It's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's proficient. So
for sure,
he's a stud. Yeah, I'm high. If he can lay in the right spot, he could be a guy that's.
I'd like to see him go to like the Texans before David Johnson got there, but
I think we just keep going back to the Chiefs. Whoever the Chiefs get, it's gonna be a fucking.
Chiefs better draft running back.
I want the Rams to take a running back.
Well, I think the Steelers are going to take a running back this year.
They should.
We
Benny
need
Snell's
a quarterback.
cool, but
Benny Snell. On Benny Snell.
Dog, if you put Benny Snell in this draft, though, we're not even talking about Benny Snell.
No, that's what I mean. But yeah, there's a lot of guys here.
That's how I like to look.
There's only 32 teams. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
How many people need running backs?
XFL's got some too, I think.
Yeah,
right.
For sure. All right, we're jumping to the next guy, Eno Benjamin from Arizona State. Came in at 5'9". A little shorter, stocky guy, 205, ran a 4.57 40, 39-inch vert. So it's got some hoppers on him right there. I have right here Austin Eckler-esque because he's like a short, little, tiny guy. But I mean, this guy runs for his size. Not being the biggest guy, he runs physical and he runs strong. Quick, little, shifty guy as well too. He's one of the more intriguing prospects, I feel like, because depending on where he lands. Obviously we keep saying where these players land is going to dictate their value and whatnot. But I thought I liked what I saw.
So perfect. So what I had read, one of his negatives is, I mean, college is so different. He doesn't always hit the holes. I like him too. He runs angry, aggressive for his size. He runs bigger than he is.
He just ran that corner over 5
100%.
yards.
So I'd like how physical he runs for that reason. But they say he tries to make too many moves as far as like not hitting the hole as often as he should and trying to make too much, instead of just taking the one or two yards. But I mean,
like he tries to be like Le'Veon Bell. Is that what you're saying?
Just right there, he was on the goal line, and granted he scored, but a couple plays ago he could have
backwards. He should just walk.
Yeah, he juked backwards. Like so, he tries to do too much sometimes to dance. But people say that about Saquon. So, I mean, he's obviously way better than Saquon. But things like that I feel you can coach out of. I mean, I like. So I think he could translate. I mean, he can catch also, and look, he runs. I like how angry he runs, really, more than anything.
Wait, you said you think he's better than Saquon?
No, not as good as Saquon. Sorry. If I did, my bad.
No, yeah, I think you did.
Yeah, if I did, my bad. That's not true.
Yeah, I think you meant the opposite.
I'm not going to, yeah.
I just want to clear that up. We don't think Eno Benjamin is better than Saquon.
For sure.
Because I heard it and I was just like, wait a second.
If I did.
Everybody stop listening. Stop subscribing.
T-Rep would say, clip it. Clip that shit.
No. I like him. I think he's good. I think like that he comes from ASU where there's a ton of NFL guys. They probably are getting him NFL ready. And Yeah, I just think he's going to be a solid. Depending on where he lands, he could end up, getting a second contract.
And Herm Edwards is a coach, so I mean,
Yeah,
what I mean.
former NFL coach Herm Edwards. So
Yeah,
he's probably not going to be a workhorse kind of guy, but I mean a third
Change of
down
pace.
guy, change of pace kind of guy. That's kind of why I wrote Austin Eckler because I feel like maybe he could be a guy where maybe he's getting 10 to 12 touches a game.
Yeah.
But I mean we see how physical he runs and how he's breaking tackles and I mean even he's already in the end zone. He's trying to run this guy over.
Dudes.
I read a stat. ASU has 5 former NFL coaches on their staff.
Well,
Herm Edwards, the head coach. Marvin Lewis is assistant head coach.
oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Well,
They got
they're
a
never
ton
gonna
of,
make. They're
like-
never gonna make the playoffs. Then
I got a ton of NFL experience. That's what I like. And it'll come up later with Ayuk.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you got to think these coaches are preparing these guys for the NFL.
course.
So, next guy we touch on right here, we got Miami running back Deejay Dallas. Dre, you actually told me to look into him. I didn't really know too much about Deejay Dallas, and then I started looking at the film, and he was actually one of my favorite guys. I was looking at Deejay Dallas comes in at 5'10", 217, ran a 4.8 40, 33-inch vert. One thing I liked about him, he was just a strong physical runner, had some good balance. And then, when I say football player, former quarterback, running back, I actually went to the U to play wide receiver, but then they transitioned him to running back. Involved in the punt return game as well, too. And I think I was telling you this, Mike. I like seeing players who are involved in like kick returns and punt returns because I feel like that just helps them when they're in the open field because it's like it's basically like a punt return. When you catch the ball
balance
in open space, it's like a punt return almost. Trying to get to the touchdown. I even texted you this too, Dre. I said Frank the Tank 2.0 just because his ability to kind of just like go through the hole, maintain his balance, absorb the hits. Look at this right here.
he always keeps his feet moving. Like, yeah. And I like his size. 5'10" is like ideal. The weight, would you say 220?
217.
I mean, that's a healthy weight, I feel like, especially going into the league because, they'll bulk up. But, yeah, I mean, I like his overall game, pass protection. I feel like he slept on Miami. I don't know. They always put out pretty good athletes. You said 4.58, right?
No,
4.58, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
4.58.
I feel like he played
at first I thought you
faster
said
than his
4.8.
number because, like, you see some of these.
Yeah, for sure.
He's actually running past people. Where some of these players where they run like a 4.5 and like they're getting caught from behind.
Right.
Because I do hate that. I hate the whole combine thing of like, oh, this guy ran a 4.4, but it's like
He plays his
I
speed.
know you guys could probably attest to this. Playing sports and whatnot. Like game speed and just like running a straight line is just way different. I feel like
sure.
when you're out there and the adrenaline's pumping and you're in game mode, I feel like that speed is just a different level of just like, okay, I'm gonna line up and just run a straight line.
For sure.
Football speed is so different.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you run a
See
4.4.
see the hands.
If you don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
Especially from a running back position. A lot of it is vision. I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
His ability, the thing I like is that he came in as a wide receiver that got transitioned to a running back. So that he can catch the ball. So his ability to potentially be a 3-down running back is there. Where some of these other running backs, we'll touch on later, they're just thumpers, or some of these running backs are just straight scat backs who, maybe they can take a couple carries, but they're not going to be able to handle a workload of 15, plus carries a game, plus the receiving upside.
Yeah.
This is one of the few guys I saw that I think has true 3-down potential in the NFL going forward.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite guys in the him and the other guy, Darrynton Evans, we'll talk about. But yeah, no, I like everything about Deejay Dallas. I'm curious to see where he goes, but he's someone I'm for sure going to try to get. And just even if it takes a year, I feel like just watching, even what we're seeing, like he's going to be practicing. Coaches will see it. Like he's just a football guy too. Through and through. Like he's good at everything, and he doesn't look like he's not good at anything. Like Jerry said, jack of all trades. But yeah, look at that. His balance is stupid though. Like, dude, barely. It's super hard to take him down, even when you're horse collaring him. That wasn't a horse collar. I'm tripping. But yeah, I like the dude
for sure. Next guy we can touch on right here, Vanderbilt running back Keyshawn Vaughn. This guy's 5'10", 215, ran a 4.5 140, 32-inch vert. Kind of just touching how we're talking about game speed right here. Here's a guy who ran a 4.5 basically. So you're thinking, like, okay, this guy's got some speed right here. But when I was watching the tape, it seemed like he just lacked breakaway speed. Like I feel like he kept getting caught from behind. Like his inability to like make people miss or like shed tacklers. I just was unimpressed because here's a name that I've been seeing a lot. Like we've been doing these mock drafts, here and there for dynasty and stuff like that. You know, and just a name in general I keep seeing is Keyshawn Vaughn. So I was kind of like, okay, well, this guy's got to be pretty good because, you know, I've seen him being, you know, as high as like the 6th ranked running back behind, you know, some of these guys. And I just was not really impressed with what I saw. It's like, okay, yeah, guy's playing. He's a good college player, but I'm not sure it transitions over into the NFL. I mean, I'm thinking maybe like a scat back, like a third down change of pace kind of guy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as you see, he doesn't have like much shake or like wiggle to him. Like he'll just straight line, and then if you catch him, you catch him. I like how physical he is. I think teams will like that, but yeah, he's not very elusive. He's almost like how like Sonny Michel is. Like Sonny Michel was really not juking anybody. He just whatever holes are there, he's gonna hit. Which, I mean, it sounds dumb, but some running backs don't do that. They don't even hit the holes that are given to him. So, I know he does that good, but yeah, he's not like a freak athlete or anything like that. He's like a strong older guy. He's like a 5th-year senior. I know he transferred from I want to say Tennessee. So he's also older too. I mean, a 23-year-old running back getting drafted, you know, before he's even played is that's rough.
It's not good.
Yeah, that's
I will say this though, to his credit, since we're gonna beat him up. He's probably the opposite of the Edwards-Helaire, to where this guy probably faced 9-man boxes,
12-man boxes
all season.
Yeah.
So any production he got was probably all him.
Yeah. He was Vanderbilt.
Well, you saw that stat against
that's
LSU.
what I mean.
He ran for 120 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, look at these boxes that he's facing. Like, so I mean, if he can get to the league and maybe see a 7-man, 6-man box, he might do good. Like,
He's like,
he might be traumatized though. He might not know what to do.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, we talked about it earlier jokingly, but Vanderbilt lost to UNLV, so I don't.
And that's no joke. And that's no
I know. I was
joke.
like, hey, should we put him in here? And Kenny was like, they lost to UNLV. No.
But point being is that, look, that's an 8-man box right there. He's making the best out of it. So he might have a little bit of upside. Just keep your eye on that. That matters, man. Stuff like that matters. You know?
For sure. 100%.
He grinds it out for sure. But look at him. He's like, God
I don't
damn
think
it.
we've
That's
seen
like
him I don't think we've seen him break longer than a 20-yard run.
No.
To T's credit, though.
He just lacked breakaway speed, you know. But like I said, a 4.5, you're thinking like, okay, these guys, you know, he should be able to at least hit it here and there. But it just seemed like no. And then
he does. He hits it here, and then he hits
like
it
the
there.
arm tackles. You know, I feel like he was getting arm tackled.
It's like who was touching the stopwatch? Who clocked that time?
Look at that highlight. It was a 4-yard option run.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, it's rough. Yeah, I told J. Ray yesterday. They passed for 10 touchdowns as a team last year. So
yeah, that's not good.
Their quarterbacks weren't exactly screaming Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow did that, and he threw for 7 touchdowns in one half.
Yeah,
So if that goes to
Yeah.
show you, he threw 7 in one half. Vanderbilt threw 10 in 13 games.
What was that? It was Oklahoma, right? What was the score? It was like 48-0 at halftime.
They could have scored 100 points against them if they really wanted to.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, yeah. So the next guy we'll touch on is probably one of the most intriguing prospects. You got Boston College running back AJ Dillon. I mean, this guy is a fucking tank. I mean, he's got Saquon Barkley-like legs. His legs might be bigger than Saquon Barkley,
Yeah,
but
dude, his quads
he
are
came in
stupid.
at 6 foot, like 245. He ran a 4.53 40 and then a 41-inch vertical. So I mean, the guy can jump through the roof, being as heavy and big as he is. One thing I didn't like right here, you know, the carries. Last 3 years, 318, 227, and 300. So a lot of tread on the tires. Did have 10 or more touchdowns in all 3 years, but not really incorporated out of the backfield pass catching wise. I mean, we were kind of talking about him off air. You're just saying for a guy his big, he's not like a pile mover.
Yeah, no. I mean, if you're a combine guy, his combine numbers, he did better than Derrick Henry, like all the numbers. But Derrick Henry's like an actual power runner, to where that's why his 4.4 40 or 4.5 looks crazy. This guy, yeah, if you watch his film, like he goes down for a dude that big, he gets stood up a lot, and he doesn't run through people like that. But I do like him. I mean his size, he is big. I don't know how you teach somebody to run stronger, but I don't know if you could do that. But
They just are what they are. But I'm disagree. I think he's good.
I
he's a stud.
think I like
I don't
him.
think you get those intangibles of 6-something, 260, 540. Like, that's a rare mix of size and speed.
For sure it is.
And when you get that in the NFL, those guys are usually successful. And so if he lands in the right spot, I read that somewhere like the Patriots, he's from Boston, would be like a good spot for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need a running back too.
I mean, he's a big dude. I just think that if he can get into the right system and, you know, maybe they can. I mean, bro, these guys just a tank. I mean, it's like I've seen things and people knock on him saying like he's this big guy, like, but he's not powerful. But I've seen him just like throw people around in some of the highlights I've seen. He's more of like a goal line back for me. So like kind of like a Latavius Murray is kind of like a comparison that kind of jumps to my mind. Like a guy who's not going to get you a ton of catches, but maybe he can come in and get you 10 to 12 carries and then some goal line work depending on what team he's on.
I've read a good comparison. I thought it was fair. It was LeGarrette Blount.
Oh, that's probably. That's probably a really good one.
Like it was just a power, but, and that's what they're saying the Patriots were lacking is that they miss that power guy. They don't have him anymore, and if they can go and get him and he could give them LeGarrette Blount like years, that'd be successful.
Yeah, because I mean, you look at him and you look at his numbers and how big he is, and you would think, why isn't he a top 5 running back? So obviously, there's things that teams don't like because you look at the dude how big he is and his numbers and shit. You would think he's like a top 5. You would think he'd be a.
The guy looks like a tank out there,
fucking
running
huge.
around,
so
bro.
it's.
But I also think that's part draft too.
Well,
this draft is deep. I'll say it again. This draft is deep.
Oh, super deep. But it's like it's just crazy to think that someone's like, I like Eno Benjamin more than I like AJ Dillon, and you would think AJ Dillon, as big as he is, and how Derrick Henry's doing, that teams would be drooling over him. And there might be a team. You never know. I mean, you saw DK Metcalf kill the combine.
Blount, like you said, LeGarrette Blount is probably the best.
Yeah, I hope he goes. I read that the Bills would like a goal line back, him and Devin Singletary, which wouldn't be a bad thing. But they already have Josh Allen, but.
They won't go 1-2 combo though. I think he's going to be a solid goal line back. Maybe he might fantasy wise, he might not produce for your fantasy team, but I think NFL wise, like a guy who's that big and who could jump 40+ inches. I mean, when you get close, he can just jump over the line.
He reminds me. Remember T.J. Duckett? That's who he reminds me of. That's what
Dre throwing it back.
I know.
T.J. Duckett was fucking 245.
Our listeners weren't alive then, Dre.
Christian Okoye.
This fool talks about the Nigerian fucking train from the 80s. So please.
It's like my favorite football player.
Bro, you
dude.
bring him up once a fucking episode.
I know, yeah.
At least
right,
once an
right.
episode, you bring him up.
Bro,
the Nigerian nightmare.
Bro, because it's like the most the funniest football player to ever live.
He was a beast. His pads were massive. Anyway, all right, what we got?
For sure. Who we got next, actually?
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at these tads up here. Is it Anthony McFarland?
We got, Anthony McFarland.
All right, so we got Anthony McFarland out of Maryland. He came in at 5'8", 208. He ran a 4.4 440, 29-inch vertical. Dre, you were telling me about him.
I read he ran a 4.3 on his pro day.
At 4.3?
Like a 4.38. And said that his speed is like next level.
See, I told T, he reminds me of a shorter Jamal Charles. Like he comes out, he's a redshirt sophomore. He was better as a redshirt freshman. He balled. Like that's what, like I said, I like guys that come out and do it at a young age. He was like 18, ran for like 1,100 yards. And I want to say they played like an Ohio State or Michigan team. I forgot. I went to look, but he ran for like 200 yards against them, and they knew that they were handing him the ball.
Yeah,
so he's
highlight right here against Ohio State.
I like him a lot, like landing spot. But yeah, he reminds me of like a little Jamal Charles. Like Jamal Charles went like 3rd round, same thing. But yeah, I like his game, even though he's a little undersized at 5'8". He just runs. He runs aggressive and.
He has more yards in this one highlight than Vaughn did in his entire reel.
Oh, basically, here we go, right here. I mean, he sauces them, and this is a good Ohio State team where like that's a Keshawn Vaughn run right there.
I'm gonna knock on him. I just didn't see anything that was outside of the fact that he's fast and he can get outside the edge and he can hit the home run. But I didn't see anything that was like, oh my god, this guy is so amazing. He's fast. And he can bounce this run to the outside. But when he gets to the NFL, everybody's fast, And it's like, what else? He's obviously not that big of a guy, so he's probably not gonna be a pass protector. So, how much? He's more of like a change of pace. Running back by committee, scat back in my eye.
So everything but a starter.
Everything but yeah.
He's like change of pace, running back by committee. Scat back,
there's just nothing that blew me away
down,
from him.
Third down.
Punt return guy, he just.
He just said just the way you said it. You literally
make a solid career. Fantasy wise, I don't know, but
bro, Matthew Slater has been a Pro Bowler in special teams for like 12 years in a row.
Facts.
But nah.
Kind of character guy he is.
Yeah, T, you. I know I told you about him, and you're like, I don't like him as much as you do. And I was like, word.
But like I said, at the end of the day, it's just all of our opinions. You know what I'm saying? There's some guys I'm higher on than other people, obviously, and,
sure.
and vice versa. So
it's all what we see.
Yeah. Well, you got anything to say on him, Kenny? Or
I'll look. Speed kills.
Yeah.
That's at the end of the day, it's on shirts and there's a reason. And if you get a guy that runs a 4.3 out of your backfield, even if you just use him for screens and stuff,
That's right there, like that.
You know, like I like what I see because he just looks very straight line fast and he looks a little shifty too. So.
Just from what I'm watching here, he just looks elusive. Like you can't get your hands around him.
Look at it. Look at that.
Yeah.
He's gliding past you.
I'm serious about this.
He's like a Tyreek Hill running back.
I understand Keyshawn Vaughn wants a Vanderbilt, but this highlight is
it's the same, bro.
25 times better
Exactly.
than Vaughn's highlight.
Maryland's quarterback sucked, and Ohio State knows. Look, they're not even losing yet. Like it's a good game.
No, this game went to overtime, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
31-31.
Like they're running I-form and single back, and they're like, he's like, that's all good. Come here. So.
I'll take it.
You worried about the size, his durability in the NFL?
That's it. Just like that's it.
Of course.
Because he did get like banged up, like little nagging injuries. Like that's what I'm saying. Like Jamal Charles, like he's not gonna pass block. I think he could be good enough, but I just think like this, like the talent that he does have is fucking stupid. And
It's a good team too.
Yeah. So he's, like I said to you, I like him. So it's just his size. That's the only thing that bothers me, or that's like worrisome. Because if he was 5'10", dude, he'd be
up there.
He'd be up there. I feel like.
I'll go out on a limb and say he probably has the highest ceiling out of all the guys outside of the top 3.
Yeah.
Just because if he does hit somewhere and break off a couple, the teams are gonna want him on the field. Yeah.
Like, because you can't touch this. I mean.
You know what I mean? Like,
Watch out! I'm not that high on him, and watch him end up in Miami and just.
Oh, that'd be great. Because then, hey, T, I won't even let you fucking draft him, talk about him. That would be funny. Hey, just like me, remember? I didn't like Deebo Samuel. He's like the one receiver I didn't like. He goes to the Niners, balls.
Yeah.
Good. So you gotta eat it.
For sure, Mike. Who do we got next?
We got Darrynton Evans.
Darrynton Evans from Appalachian State. I actually don't have any notes on him.
So
gotta
take
do
it
some
away,
film on him.
boys.
So Dre, this is
cool. No, 2-time All Sun Belt. I mean, I want to say he's like 6. He's built like he's like an Antonio Gibson. He looks more like a wide receiver. He's tall. He's like 6 feet 210. The knock. I mean, some people say it's a knock that he went to Appalachian State, but Appalachian State was fucking ranked this year, so it's not.
What are you calling it?
Appalachian State? Isn't that what they're called? Appalachian State?
Oh.
Yeah. Fuck you, Mike. Shut up. No, so they say that the competition wasn't there, but I mean, dude ran a 4.40. He was explosive. He's like they say, he looks like a receiver because he can catch. He's good out of the backfield. As you can see, his speed is fucking stupid too. But it's just a level competition. They didn't play that many great teams, so that's like the one knock I have read on him. But I did read that teams are looking to get him early 3rd round. Like teams are like hitting him up just because they like his size and how he can be on the field. He's like a big special teams guy. But I just like everything about the dude. I mean, he's been putting up numbers. I think he ran for like 1,800 and he had like 22 touchdowns last year total. And he's been good. I mean, I would like to think he's part of the reason Appalachian State got ranked, but
yeah,
late guy. I mean,
yeah, I'm not gonna put too much in a guy running crazy all over the Sun Belt Conference.
Yeah, for sure.
But those are 2 guys. They get into a right system in the NFL and they end up being successful. But it's hard to evaluate because you don't know. He's playing. Yeah. I mean, his highlights are against Troy and.
He did get MVP. He got MVP of the bowl they played in. I forgot the name of it.
The East-West Shrine game.
No, whatever game he was, he got MVP. He balled. He went to the Senior Bowl, I guess, and did well. So, I guess when they put him up with that level of talent, he did well. But still, it's one of those guys. Like same thing with look at Kareem Hunt. He was like a 4th or 5th round draft pick. He went to Toledo.
Yeah.
So.
It's all about where you land and where you get the opportunity.
Especially with him. I mean, he's a bigger guy, which is one thing. I was like, but I don't mind it.
What was his 40 again?
He ran a 4.4. It was like a 4.48. Yeah. So he's pretty fast. It might have actually been faster than that. Actually, I might have it in here. I could be tripping. Let's see.
Yeah, like I said, just kind of a guy. I mean, looking at the highlights, I mean, he looks pretty. I mean. Like you said, it's kind of hard when you're going against the Sun Belt, the level of competition, compared to like the Big Ten and SEC and whatnot. So, but I mean, he's kind of doing what he's asked to do. Go out there and dominate who's in front of him. So
yeah, 4.4. He ran a 4.4 140, 225, 20 times, and had a 37-inch vertical. Yeah. So pretty explosive.
No, he looks good. I mean, this is the first time me personally looking at like any highlights and so he looks good. I would just kind of watching this, I would prefer him over McFarland. I mean, like I said, McFarland's fast, but I mean,
he's built big.
This guy's fast too, and
yeah,
I mean, look at bro, this guy just ran right by that guy.
I mean, he literally didn't get
what
touched
are those
for 80
guys?
yards.
Like you said, though, what are those guys running?
Charlotte's
about to fold their Division I program
for sure. He literally just ran 80 yards and didn't
just
get
ended
touched.
a college football program.
He didn't get touched. They probably saw that run and they're like, guys, we can't get one guy to touch a human being on a play.
We need to see
cut the program.
We need to see him against talent, where there's 22 guys on the field that deserve to be there, and so.
But I have read that teams like his skill set. But I mean, I'm sure. A lot of teams like a lot of guys.
Could be like a project guy.
Yeah.
Coming out when.
Keep your eye on him. I like him.
A project.
Chick. All right, for sure. We'll jump into another guy. We got Memphis, kind of like a utility player, I guess you want to call him here. Played some running back. Football player. Like I said, you call these guys a football player. Played running back, played wide receiver, but we're talking about Antonio Gibson from Memphis. Came in at like 6'1". Sometimes it's crazy. Sometimes I'll look at these stats and like some websites have him at like 6'2", some of them like 6 foot. So there's all over the place. But kind of in the middle, 6'1", 228. So stocky guy. Ran a 4.39 40. He actually ran with the wide receiver. So there's obviously like you guys got like guys like Ruggs and whatnot who are running faster. But if you would have threw him in the running backs category, he ran a 4.39, which was the exact same time that Jonathan Taylor ran 4.39, 35-inch vertical. He was one of these guys. One of the favorite guys I liked looking at this, like I said, football player, guy who can, run the ball, but then can also catch the ball. You can line him up. I think he's transitioned to be a slot guy. I don't think he's going to be a running back. I could be completely wrong, but I just envision him being like a slot guy.
He's big. He's a big dude.
But it's just some good open field vision and tough to tackle. I wrote right here, Percy Harvin 2.0, because I feel like he's kind of like that utility guy where, you can use him as a running back, end arounds, but you can line him up, at the slot if you want to.
I like it. I like his beacon. He's a receiver that's playing running back.
Yeah.
I like the comp, and I think that similar numbers are close, right? You're close, yeah. Looks good. For sure. If he goes to the Dolphins too, you're going to be you'd be ecstatic, right?
I would for sure, yeah. There's like Kenny said, this is one of the deepest draft classes. And like I even told you, like this is kind of the first year I really like dove into like dynasty and watching these films. And I don't know if it's just like maybe I'm just watching good film because like they're all the highlights,
Right.
But like I just feel like there is a lot of good players.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I told you that. I'm like, yo, dude, I don't know if it's just
because it's my first year.
Yeah, but like everyone seems like majority of the time there's a lot of good players,
It's weird. We're only watching people's highlights. Everybody seems good.
Yeah, it's like and then you got Keshawn Vaughn who can't break a 25-yard run on a fucking highlight. So
but like you said, the draft is deep. Obviously, the highlights are going to make somebody look good. It's going to be their best plays. But some of these guys are just really impressing. So,
I just like the fact that he can, like I said, running back, wide receiver, doing both, and then he's a big body guy. So when he gets the ball in space, he's tough to tackle, and the speed. We're talking about Jonathan Taylor with the speed that he had running the 40, and the guy ran the same 40 as well. So yeah, he's one of the guys that I liked personally. We jump into another guy right here. We got Baylor running back. What is it, JaMycal Hasty?
JaMycal Hasty. Just cool running back name. Like I told Kenny, that's like part of the reason I like him. You'll see there's more reasons, but that's a cool ass name, JaMycal Hasty. No, high character guy. I was talking to Kenny about him a little bit. He's like first to get there, last to leave kind of guy in the when it came to like working out, all that stuff. Coaches love him. Productive. He does everything good. He kind of he's like a poor man's like Deejay Dallas to me. Same thing with him though is his size. That's honestly the only thing that like worries me. Same thing. He's 5'8", but he weighs like 210. But he runs. He's like an Eno Benjamin. He runs. He like looks for contact. I think he's almost like a Devontae Freeman if I had to think about it because he runs a lot bigger than his size and he's kind of built similar to him, like short, stocky, kind of bigger dudes. But shifty in open space. We'll see some stuff here. I mean, Baylor was good.
Cool. That was pretty. He left that guy in the dirt.
He's like a day 3 guy. So, but yeah, he was productive. I mean, Big 12, like Kenny said, they don't play much defense. But I like he's like a high 4.4 40 guy too. So he's also fast, but he's got some good wiggle to him too. So just a guy to think about, like I said.
A little wiggle, huh?
Really little out there though.
Yeah, he looks. Yeah, it's weird because McFarland's the same size, but McFarland runs bigger than him.
Yeah.
So that would be my thing, just his size. because they said coaches are saying he's like he's good enough in like pass protection, but he's just a small guy. So like Jerry's guy coming up, we'll be talking about soon.
For sure. Who you got anything to say on him, Kenny?
I like what I see, and we'll see. Hopefully, he's a guy that works out. See what team he goes to. See what kind of position he can put in and succeed. I do know it's harder with those late round guys. It's like you better ball out in camp.
Yeah.
You're early, you better prove.
And this year
or else
sucks
you
for
get
that.
your chances taken away quick.
Yeah.
So it's kind of all depends on that. But look, if you play Division I football and you have any kind of success, and you're good and you're healthy and you run a 4.4, you can play at the next level. It's just about finding the right spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and doing the little things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keeps his feet moving too, but just see.
Nothing crazy sticks out, but Dre
Yeah.
likes him, so
Yeah, nothing crazy,
we'll let
but
him.
he's good enough.
For sure. Well, the last
good
guy
enough.
we'll touch on right here. We got another short guy. We got Arizona running back Deejay Taylor.
Yeah, we're going
My
by
guy,
height, bro.
baby.
We're going by height.
This is Kenny's guy right
This is my
here.
guy.
This is probably the littlest guy, right?
he's tiny. But like I text you guys, those small guys behind those NFL offensive linemen are so hard to find. I mean, you're talking 3-4 yards every time because before you can see them, before you know where they're at, they're gone. And if he can be, like Dre said, I don't want to compare him to Tariq Cohen because he's not. He's bigger. He's more like a Maurice Jones-Drew.
That was crazy.
But he has the ability to.
Whoppers with cheese.
You'll see this highlight. He's good, man.
Yeah, for audio listeners, real quick, if you want to check out the highlights we're watching, it's on YouTube, AVG Fantasy Football. Go ahead and check that out.
Yo.
Nice.
Yo. He is tiny. I mean, I was telling you, Kenny, in Madden, I like to run with a little running back because you can't grab their little asses. So I couldn't imagine in real life trying to get this little fight. He can go between a lineman's legs, honestly, dude. He's so little.
Yeah. Well, you said you personally played against him, right?
Yeah, in high school, yeah. I coached against him.
And
he just did exactly what he's doing.
Oh my
Did
God.
that
to
right
college
there.
guys. He's just shifty, man.
Yeah,
he's
he's
very
tiny.
shifty and small, and
He definitely has a chip on his shoulder.
I'm going
for
to tell
sure.
you too. You guys know you played football. In pass blocking situation, football's about leverage.
Yeah.
When you already have a low center of gravity, that helps you so much. He could be a guy that could stay in and pass block because he's little.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got breakaway speed.
I mean, like you said, you don't want to compare him to Tariq Cohen, but I mean, it is Tariq
similar,
Cohen-esque.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we've seen Tariq Cohen be like a
27
fantasy,
for 284.
contributor.
Yeah, that's one game.
Yeah, because Sean Vaughn didn't do that in the whole highlight we saw. I don't think we saw 284 net yards.
He's got to write us a hate email. Sean Vaughn.
Come find us. At least we're
Sorry.
doing something right.
Prove us wrong.
Yeah, for real.
I'll buy your jersey.
Yeah.
Watch, the Bears are going to draft him. I swear to God.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
You're going to trade up for him.
Just straight, exactly.
trade up for him.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, all right, cool. That was all the running backs. That's just 15 of them. Like you said, it's a deep class. There's a lot of other running backs we probably didn't touch on. But, obviously where these running backs land is going to dictate their value, whether it goes up or goes down. So the draft's coming in on Thursday. We're going to do a live stream for that. And it'll just be interesting to see, where these players do land so we can really finally assess, their true value of what we think, and stuff like that. So you guys got anything you want to touch on before we sign off?
That's it, man. I'm the running backs is going to be deep class, and I'm like I said, hard to tell. So we don't know what system and what team they're going to, but it's going to be a lot of dudes that I think make a lot of money in the NFL and get to second contracts out of this class. So,
is there anything you want to plug, Kenny? Social media or something like that?
No, man. I'm good.
No.
That's
Kenny
it.
just came
Appreciate
here to drop his expertise, dude. That's what I like to hear.
That's it,
Dude, that's
talk fantasy sports with my boys.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, well, that's the end of the part 1 of the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast. This has been episode 10 for season 3. This is basically everything you need to know about running backs. And if you wanna know everything you need to know about all the wide receivers in the NFL draft for 2020, go check out the next episode. Like I said, subscribe, do all that, rate us a review on Apple Podcasts, things like that.
Yo.